and welcome to the channel Tech and More. As part of the ongoing series that is Salesforce Automation Testing, welcome to another session. In this video, we are going to see, learn, and explore practical examples of writing down XPaths using the access method. Right? What is access method? What are the types and everything? This is something we'll be discussing going forward. Cool. So before actually going ahead and telling you the topics, let me tell you that since the key topics are of good amount, we have split this particular topic into two videos, which is part one and part two. So in part one, we will be discussing the types of access method, which is following sibling, preceding, and preceding sibling, right? So all in all, under the umbrella of access method, these five topics will be discussed in part one, and in part two, these four topics will be discussed. So just to make things clear, so yeah, let's start. And first of all, let's see what are chained XPath expressions. Cool. So as you can see on the screen, you have this definition, the theoretical definition, which says using multiple XPath expressions together makes a chained XPath, right? Now, what do you understand by it? As I always say, it's better to see an example in action, and that is when you get a very good understanding of the concept. So you have this definition, you have the syntax. If you want, you can refer to it. But we will go ahead and first of all, we will copy a chained XPath, and I will paste it on a web page in Salesforce, and then I'll explain it to you. Cool. So let me go ahead and let me inspect this element, because we have designed the XPath for this search web element. So let me go ahead and let me paste it here, right? So, oh, that's a bit awkward because it should have been, okay, this was done on the home page, so maybe that's why. So let me go ahead and let me search for it. Cool. So do you see that we are able to find this web element using this XPath? How? Because we have this one of one result, right? So we have found a unique XPath to locate this web element. Now let me zoom in it a bit and let me show you the XPath in actual. Oh, that got a lot zoomed. Yeah. So if you have seen my previous videos, and if you have not, please go ahead and do that, because these concepts are something which can be understood only once you have a better understanding from the very start, right? So if you have not, please go ahead and watch those videos. If you have, then you will make a sense of what I'm saying. So basically what I'm saying is that if you split this entire XPath into two parts, what you'll notice is that this is a combination of two XPaths. The first one being div type is equals to search. That is, you have a tag, you have an attribute, and you have an attribute value, right? And then secondly, you have another XPath, which is, so let's put a plus here. I mean, this is not a part of syntax, but just for you to differentiate it well. So after plus, there is a second XPath, which is again, input placeholder is equals to search, right? So all in all, when two XPaths are clubbed together, that is what makes a chained XPath, right? Now, one might question that what is the need of it? So just writing down an XPath, I mean, a single XPath, just, I don't know, maybe tag and attribute and attribute value, that is something which will not work a lot of times in real time projects. So a word of advice, if you are and of course you're planning to work on actual projects, right? So you have to have a very, very good understanding of writing chained XPaths, that is more complicated XPaths, right? So there might come situations when just simply writing down uh, a simple XPath will not help you locate an element, a unique element, or an optimized way of locating an element, right? So all in all, it is very important, it is very necessary to understand the chained XPaths. So I hope that you did get an understanding of what chained XPaths are. If not, please pause it here, watch the video again, and if you feel there are any questions, feel free to comment, and we will respond as per the best of the timing. Cool. So this is what chained XPath are. Now let's go on and let's look at the basic agenda of this video, that is access method. Now, why was chained XPath explained earlier? Because because the access method is basically a subclass or a subset of the chained XPaths, right? So with chained XPaths, you learn how to club multiple XPaths together, or how to write multiple things together. Now, there are different ways of writing those multiple XPaths together, and that is what makes access methods. Cool. All in all, you will be able to understand these types of access methods that we're going to discuss. But I mean, for now, just understand that using a chained XPath, you can locate elements in a very optimized manner, right? So first of all, let's go ahead and let's have a look at the first type of access method, which is following. As the name suggests, it says it can be used to access all the elements that follow the current node, right? Now, what is a node? First of all, let's go ahead and see that. Let me zoom it a bit, zoom it out a bit. So let's suppose I want to go ahead and let me take you to another page for some, change. So let's suppose if I want to, just give me a second. I need to close this. So let's suppose if I want to write down an XPath to identify this search box, right? So of course I need to click on inspect, and now I have this particular thing in front of me. That is this entire. You have the tag and you have attribute and attribute values, right? Now this is a node. That is, this is again a node. So if you see it clearly, above input there is div, which is a parent of it. Then above this div, that is the one in highlight, there is another div, right, which again has some other values. Then above this div, there is one more div. So if I go ahead and if I keep on collapsing these divs, it becomes one entire node, right? So this is what is termed as one node. Then you expand it and you see other nodes, right? So going back to the definition, it says it can be used to access all elements that follow the current node, right? So following, as you might be knowing, is the next thing. So let's suppose if I want to locate an element using the following keyword in my XPath, I will be using an example of this manner, right? Again, you have the syntax and everything, get a gist of it, but it is better to understand with example. So let me go ahead and let me paste this XPath here. So if you see, we again have 101, that is a unique XPath that will help us locate the element that we wanted to, which is being highlighted here. That is this one, search this list, this input box, right? Now, what I need to show you here is that how we are using following. Cool. So let me first of all go ahead and let me just forget this particular part for now. Cool. So I want to go ahead and I want to write down an XPath for search this list input box, but I want to do it using following instead of directly reaching to it, right? So let me again go ahead and traverse to this particular web element. That is, okay, cool, right? So what I could have done is that I could have simply I could simply go and I could simply use the placeholder attribute and the value and simply located the element. But we have to use following because, I know you might question that why do we need to do this? Do not just focus on this example. Understand it that there are a lot of situations when you have to traverse from one place to another. And you will be understanding the relevance of this in the next example or in the next type. But for now, let's understand this. So I want to go ahead and I want to use the following part, right? So let me go ahead and let me look at the parents of it, right? Of the input. So you have div, then you have again div, then you have div and all these, right? So I have already written the XPath, which identifies the parent, right? So let me go ahead and let me press enter. This is done. So if you see the highlight on the screen, this is the entire web element that this XPath is identified, right? Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to locate the input, which is search this list. And that particular input is a part of this entire parent, that is this one, right? This entire parent. Good. So what I'll do is I will traverse a bit down, and I will see where I can find input. So when I scroll on this particular div, do you see on the screen there is a blue highlight which highlights the search this list? So we have hit the right spot. Now I will again expand it, and now I will see where is input tag. I mean, where I want to give in the data. So here it is, right? So what I'll do is I'll use following, that is in the next node. As I told you, the meaning of following, that is going from top to bottom. That is, we first located the main div, then we went down in the following manner or in the next to next manner. And from here in we go ahead and we select the input value, right? So what I'll do is I'll use / following and input C, right? Now you might uh, realize that there are 16 results coming from this XPath, and we always have to have an XPath which is unique. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and I will find an attribute and an attribute value which will identify it as unique. So I will search for placeholder and I will search for this string. So let me go ahead and let me copy it. And again, let me write it as placeholder is equals to this. See, and if you remember when we were discussing chained XPaths, this is what it is, right? So this is the first XPath, and then this is the second XPath. So following here becomes an amalgamation or something which is concatenating or joining these two XPaths. So that is the relevance of following, right? I hope that you have understood the relevance of following. You have understood the example. I know it can be a bit daunting at first to understand these things, but once you get a gist of it, once you write 4 to 5 XPaths, you're good to go. And honestly, I have spent the maximum time on explaining following to you, and therefore, when we discuss the upcoming types, we will be focusing more on the example directly and wasting less time on theory. So if you feel that you have any queries or any questions, stop right here, watch the video again, comment us, and then you go ahead and watch the remaining video. Cool. So let's go on to the next type of access method, which is following sibling. So following sibling is a type of following access method. And as you can see, the definition it says can be used in case of same parent or same level following the same current node, right? Now, to give you a better understanding of this, we have another example on the Salesforce page, that is on the login page. And let me tell you wherein the need of following and following sibling and preceding sibling comes into the picture, because that is very important to understand, right? Now, let's suppose if I want to write down an XPath to identify the username field and input data into it, right? So what I'll do is, I mean, what an amateur tester would do is that he or she would simply go ahead, identify this text box, and I mean, I don't know, maybe let's just delete it to get a better understanding. So what they'll do is they simply use this one. That is, they'll use the name attribute and the attribute value, something like this. So for example, the XPath will be name is equals to username. Cool. And they'll say that, you know what, I have the XPath with me. But this is what an amateur would do. A professional, a well-trained automation tester will never do such thing, because see, whatever you see on the UI, this text username, this password, this login button, this is very less probable to change in case of development, right? So what you have to understand is the web page that you're seeing right now is a stable product. But when you're working on a project, it is very unstable. I mean, the development is going on, right? So the development team will change a lot of things in the process of development. Uh, Almost daily, right? So the things which are visible on the UI, for example, the username text, the password text, all these things is very less probable to change, because these come from the product owner or from the client side. But for example, this ID, this name, this is something which is not visible on the UI, right? So they can change it anytime. Now, if you go ahead and if you simply use these attribute and attribute values to locate the element, and if the developer tomorrow changes it, your XPath will break. And it is, and speaking from experience, it happens to be true that such type of XPaths break a lot. So it is always better to locate the elements using the text visible on the UI, because they are less probable to change, right? So if I want to traverse to the username field, if I want to enter data to the username field, I will not directly go there. What I will do is I will inspect element username label first, right? And from there on, I will go ahead and I will use following sibling or following or preceding sibling or preceding, that is just adjacent to that node, and then I will write down an XPath. So if tomorrow the label changes, if tomorrow the ID or name changes, my XPath will remain unaffected to a lot of extent. I'm not saying it's always 100% true, but there are good amount of chances. Cool. So pausing myself with all this theory, let me go ahead and let me show you an example. So let me go ahead and let me first of all navigate to the username field, right? So you want to write an XPath which will help you input data in this text box, but we are not doing that right now. What we are doing is we are just focusing on the username label for now, and then from here on, we will be traversing to the following sibling, right? So we have traversed here. Now let me go ahead and let me uh, try to navigate to the element using following sibling, that is just adjacent to it. That is just the same node to it. Cool. So let me go ahead and let me try to. Okay. So, mm, 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 hmm. So if you see here, we have already used this XPath, and herein you see the label. I mean, it has uh, correlated or detected this node, right? Now, from herein, what you see is that this following sibling that is on the same level. So when we say following sibling, sibling means it is at the same level as similar to your brother or sister. You are all on the same level, right? So sibling means that the nodes are on the same level. So for example, this div, which is username container, is not a sibling to this div, which is username group. It's a child of it. But label and div, they are similar to each other, so they can be used as sibling. So what I'll do is I'll write here following sibling, and I will write here div. Okay, I have misspelled it, my bad. Right? So now it traverses you to this div. And if you see it closely, it highlights that element for you, so it is easier for you to locate it. Cool. Now you have to go ahead and you have to search for the input here. So let me go ahead and let me write it as input. So if you see closely, again coming to one, there are three results. The orange or the green highlight is being done here. So see this one on the screen, right? So always the first one will be the input box. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this particular XPath with uh, curly brackets, sorry, with round brackets, and I will put the index as 1. And if you do not know what indexes are, please refer to the previous video wherein we are talking about indexing, right? So it always generates a unique XPath. Now, if you watch it closely, if you watch this XPath closely, you will realize that if the ID or name of this particular input changes tomorrow, it will not be affected. It will have no negative impact on our XPath, right? So that is the intent of using following sibling. Cool. So that is what it is. Now, in order for us to keep the video short and small, I will not be explaining preceding and preceding sibling per se, because this is sort of a homework for you or a task for you that you have to go ahead and you have to make sure that you implement preceding and preceding sibling. A hint for you that preceding and preceding siblings are basically the opposites of following and following sibling, right? So I don't want to make videos lengthy unnecessarily. You have understood the basic concept, and as a seasoned software engineer, you always have to, uh, you just have to have the main content, and then you have to make your way yourself, because this is something that will be helpful in your projects as well. So you have to learn the art of doing it on your own. Of course, you need to have the tools, but then now you have understood the concept of following and following sibling, so you can go ahead and give it a try for preceding and preceding sibling, which is again the opposite of it. What I'll be doing is I will be sharing this. I mean, I of course I won't be able to share this slide with you per se, but you see on the screen I have preceding with me. I have this definition, I have the syntax, and I have the example. So you can take a screenshot of this, try recreating this XPaths in your org, right? And then let me know if you have any questions or any queries via comments. And I mean, just use this as a reference for you to understanding these two topics. So this is preceding. You have this entire data in front of you. So you can go ahead and you can simply copy or have a screenshot of this. Then next is preceding sibling, right? Again, you can take a screenshot of this and you can refer to these experts. They will always work in your Salesforce DevOps as well, right? So this is it, and I hope that both these topics is something that you will be able to make sense of. And let me know again if in case of any queries or any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help. Looking forward to your active participation here, because ultimately you are the chap who has to learn. So this is sort of something that will help you a lot. And yeah, that's all. I am so sorry to say so much, but I genuinely feel that if you have to get a very good understanding of things, you have to do them yourself. So you have understood the first two topics. Now the second the other two topics are very much relevant or very much similar to the first two ones. So you can make a sense of it. If not, don't worry. I'm here to make the video, but I want you to try it at your own level first. Cool. So that's all. Thank you so much for watching. And in the next part of this topic, that is part 2, we will be discussing the remaining 3 types of access method. So yeah, see you in the next video, and take care. Bye bye.